Hey ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. My name is KPZ. You're here on the home of the slightly above average ship review. We're on Archipelago. I don't know if we're top tier or not because I did not give myself enough time to pay attention to the screen. We are in the tier 3 Japanese premium battleship Kawachi. Going to the history book, the Kawachi was the lead ship of her class, built for the Imperial Japanese Navy. Completed in 1912, she often served as a flagship. She bombarded German fortifications in China during the Battle of Tsingtao in 1914. She sank in 1918 after an explosion in her ammunition magazine. 600 officers and crew members were killed in the explosion. Maybe the cordite powder just broke down and spontaneously combusted. That can actually happen. It is hard to say. Anyway, very similar turret layout to a lot of ships of this era. Like the French ship that I can't remember the name of as we shoot at this Violana. One of the Royal Navy ships has the same wing turret arrangement as well. So yeah, there are other ships with this kind of front turret, rear turret, and then 4 wing turrets, 2 to each side. At least 2 others. The English have one, and the French have one. So if you're familiar with those, you're going to be feeling right at home here in the Kawachi. All right, really quick, going to WoW's builds. The damage record. Okay. I'm not in the right website. Is it maybe not on the WoW's Builds website? I can't find it. Give me just a second here. We got a Citadel hit. We're aiming at the St. Louis. Presumably that's who I Citadel'd earlier when I was trying to figure out the accursed internet. I'm going to start handwriting my reviews because I'm a Luddite and I can't get the internet to work. All right, another salvo here at the St. Louis. That looked pretty trashy. That didn't look a whole lot better. But that's all we needed. 1 Citadel hit and an overpen. And we get our first kill as we also eat a torpedo. Alright, going back to WoW's builds. Show me the ship. Come on, people. It's not in here. It is not in WoW's builds. So I would love to tell you all about it, but I can't. So we're going to have to go to the Big Daddy website there, World of Warships. Now we're shooting in a Duguay-Tron. And there's some torpedoes moving in there. He's not even really paying attention to me, and that's great. I didn't cause any of that damage, so that's not great. As you can see, the shells are really spread out here. Very not accurate. Trying to get this rear turret turned around, turning. And there goes a good salvo that promptly does about, I don't know, a couple hundred hit points of damage maybe. So we're having an overpenning problem at this tier. And even when I'm shooting in places I think it wouldn't overpen, we can't get a kill. Alright. Going to World of Warships. I'm going to just give you some default values here. All right. Shell dispersion of the main battery, 162 meters. Shell velocity, 810 meters per second. It doesn't give me a sigma value that I can see here, unfortunately. So I don't know how accurate that is. All right, we're in a smokescreen. This is a good place to be for a ship like me, especially with an aircraft carrier in the match. And speaking of which, we're going to try and finish off the Phoenix for our third kill. And now that he's been reduced to nothing, let's go ahead and shoot. Kill Pinch Unleashed with a Citadel hit. Here's the Hosho. Fosho. And there's another Citadel hit. And now we're going to just load. Secondary guns are going off. I'm taking damage, but we do get a close quarters expert. So yes, we're on the hunt for a Kraken fail in Kawachi. And the enemy Kawachi is right there. And I think this will be a good enough angle. No, it isn't. It isn't a good enough angle. And we're dodging torpedoes and we get more damage. And we shoot again and again, don't do anything, and we get taken out. So that was pretty terrible. Let me see if there's anything else I can find in here for stats. Blah, blah, blah. Dispersion 162, we already talked about that. There is no mention of the Sigma value here, unfortunately, on wiki.wargaming.net en. So, since the ship didn't do a whole lot in its life, and since it's not in WoW's builds, and since we don't have a lot to go with, I'm just going to clip to the end of the match. Alright, the screen says battle ended. We are here on the victory screen. Alright, devastating strike medal, close quarters expert medal. We ended up with 60,275 total damage, 4 big kills, 6 hits to Citadel, and 124,058 silver, 3320 ship XP and commander XP in Kawachi. They probably just copied an existing design, folks. Alright, we're not even on the top of the board. We're number 2. 2 medals, 4 big kills, 1,229 base XP, GG to the Bellerophon, and we were top tier in that game. So we should have dominated, and I think for the most part, we did. At least skill-wise. All right, here in a minute, we're going to go back into the port and take a look at the ship. Honest, I promise. I'm suffering from Montezuma's revenge today, so let me just swig some of this really horrible tasting shit called Pedialyte. It is vile tasting. All right, here in the port, aiming system mod 1, the only mod. We don't get 4 upgrades like some of the OP ships do. 3 charges of the repair party, 3 charges of the enhanced secondary targeting consumable. For some inexplicable reason, we are using an epic battle booster on this ship for main battery range and movement speed. So yeah, let's not do that anymore. Type 9 permanent camouflage and the unsmashed pumpkins flag. I have no idea why that's on that ship. 43,700 hit points and a 9% torpedo damage reduction with our build. Got those 6 twin 305mm turrets, 14.8 kilometer firing range, 30-second reload, 30-second turn time, HE shells, 5,100 max damage with a 29% fire chance. Armor piercing shells, 8,910 max damage. 2 sets of secondaries, range of both is 4.2 kilometers. The first set of 8 120mm guns reloads every 5 seconds, does 1,200 HE shell max damage with a 10% fire chance. The second set of 10 152mm guns reloads every 10 seconds, does 2,200 max HE shell damage with a 12% fire chance. AA defense, well, you do have some. It is not great. Pardon me, I almost threw up there. Maneuverability, 18 knots, 560-meter turning circle, 10.1 second rudder shift time. Concealment, 11.3 on the surface, 9.5 from the air, 9.1 when firing in a smokescreen. I'm really just going to go right here and say this probably isn't very different than the French ship or the English ship in terms of their armor profile. No, I'm not insane enough to have looked at both up and compared them side by side. Turrets and barbettes, you know, a little bit more heavily armored, but nothing here is setting the world on fire. You do have an armor belt that goes to the front, although it weakens in thickness to the front of the ship. Above and below that is 16 millimeters. And then the deck plating in real life is just 1.5 inches. Here they may have made it a little bit thicker. Anyway, the armor belt down there looks like it goes up to 178, and that's cool and everything. But yeah, 25 millimeter deck. No, sir, that is not accurate to real life. The deck of this ship, for the sources I've read, was just 1.5 inches thick. So may that be a lesson to you. Things are altered all the time in this game for a magical word known as balance. Because in theory, you should be able to citadel the shit out of this thing with armor piercing and HE bombs. All right, that's the Kawachi, folks. I guess we didn't look at the commander. Anyway, and if you enjoyed it, don't forget to hit that like button.